Sometimes in our life, we experience really intense or traumatic situations, and it can be really hard to see the bigger picture or the higher perspective, understanding of why these type of things happen. And what I would like to do with this episode is just give you an opportunity to zoom out from whatever situation that you are currently experiencing. And even if you don't feel you can get the message of why things are happening the way they are, help you to greater understand that Spirit has a purpose for it. So what I'm going to do is share my own story of walking away from God because I felt that even though I had been committed to my Creator, even though I had been willing to believe in something that I couldn't see, I felt in many ways betrayed by that same entity that I loved and cared for. And in telling you this story, I'm also going to speak to you about how I was able to return to the love that I once had for my Creator. I remember being young. I remember being maybe like 5 years old and really believing and being in love with God. And it was so deep. It was so real to me. I remember the excitement of being told that there was a Creator that cared for me or loved me and was watching over me. And I remember the joy of praying and the joy of music in relation to my Creator and just how happy those type of things made me feel. Even at 5, I remember every night I would go to bed and feel moved to pray for the safety of all of the people that I loved, because I felt truly that my Creator was listening to me. And if I just prayed, if I remembered to say their names during my prayers, I knew that I felt within all of my being that they would be safe. I remember how I would feel kind of like worried if I forgot to say somebody's name during my nighttime prayers. And so I would get up and get back down on my knees and I would start my prayer over again. And this time remember to say the person that I misnamed. But that's how in love and that's how powerfully I believed in the fact that there was something that created me and would take care of me and would take care of the people that I loved. What moved me to turn my back or walk away from God and Christianity as a whole was from the time I was about 5 or 6 till the age of about 13. I experienced being essayed by somebody close to me. And this person was actually very Christian. Or at least they portrayed themselves to be. And this started a very strong battle in me. I won't say there weren't other things about myself that kind of moved me away from Christianity, but the strongest understanding was the fact that I experienced being essayed by this person and that they were Christian. And I just remember there being this big fight within me, all of this anger. How could, if this person existed, if this entity existed, how could this entity let this happen to me? How could they allow somebody to do the things that this person had done to me? I felt highly betrayed. I felt so betrayed. I went to church every Sunday. I went to church sometimes on Wednesdays. I spent church and I went to church during the summer, for summer school and things like that. I was always in church. I've read a lot of the Bible just for fun. How could a God that loved me, that cared about me, how could it betray me when I had given so much to it, when I had, from a very young age, believed in it powerfully? And it was a really hard decision. It was a really hard decision to walk away and turn my back on God, because I still felt and believed that energy. I felt the truth of this creator within myself. But I remember the biggest turning point for me was when this person spoke to me and said that if I didn't forgive them, I was going to go to hell. Those were the words out of that person's mouth. If I didn't forgive them for what they'd done, that I would go to hell. And the crazy thing is that, like, that's what's taught or preached in Christianity. You have to forgive. You have to let it go. You have to just to release that from yourself. And it made me angry to think that I have to forgive something like that. It made me angry to think that not only would my creator allow something like that to happen to me, but also my creator would tell me that if I wanted its grace, if I wanted its love, if I wanted it to still care for me and be there for me, even though it already hadn't been there, if I wanted to deserve heaven, then I had to forgive this person. And so I chose, and I chose it strongly. I chose it with a stubborn will I turned my back so strongly against a God that I felt had betrayed me. And I moved on with my life. I walked my life, and there will always be moments where I would see and experience things that made me feel the truth of my creator. But I would always just kind of cover that up, hide it away from myself, remembering what I had experienced, all that I had gone through, and continue to try to put even more distance between me and God. But in my spiritual journey, because what I did begin to do is separate spirituality from Christianity, separate spirituality from religion. And in my spiritual journey, I found a lot of truth about what I had experienced. And I don't think that if I had ever stayed a part of Christianity, that I would have found this understanding. But the thing is, me walking away from Christianity, me walking away from God, is exactly what my creator wanted. It wanted me to walk away from such a rigid understanding of it. It wanted me to go and explore my own perspective of what it could be to me. And never would I have done that. Never would I have done that if I had not experienced what I had experienced. Never would I have done that if not for the fact that the version of God that Christianity parroted to me started to feel stale or brittle. It wasn't a strong enough understanding of my creator to keep me grounded or to keep me wanting to move forward in my life. So I had to go and find and search for that myself. And that's exactly what Spirit wanted. That's what God wanted me to do. It wanted me to release somebody else's perspective of what God was and go find it for myself. It wanted me to be in love with it in its own way, in a way that was just me and it. And I could not have done that if I would have stayed a part of Christianity. But that's what I mean about the higher perspective. Because when I understood that, it was amazing to me to know that Spirit knows me emphatically. Like I'm a writer. I'm a very loyal energy. And I would have tried to fit myself into all the rigid, boxed rules of Christianity to please it, to please God. So the only way that it could really get me to leave that box, leave that rigid understanding, was to have me experience such egregious pain, to have me experience such egregious betrayal by that understanding, that I would walk away. Because that's the only reason I did. The only reason I turned my back on that version of God is because of that egregious experience. And I noticed that pattern throughout my life. Everything that was not best serving me, because of who I am as a person, such a strong-willed person that's willing to stay down, be loyal, be a rider, all of that type of stuff for a person, for a situation, all of those things, Spirit has taken me to my max so that I would rise above, because it's the only way I would. There was a relationship I was in where I would never have left the relationship. I would have stayed there, even though it wasn't necessarily emotionally and mentally good for me. I would have stayed there. And I remember saying to myself, well, this person, they haven't hit me. They haven't put their hands on me. That's a line for me. You're not going to put your hands on me in any type of relationship, and I stay. And so Spirit was like, okay, if that's what you need, I'm going to give it to you. If that's the line that you need, I'm going to give you that line so you can leave and go towards better for yourself. And there are so many other situations. There are friends that I've lost or have lost me on the basis of Spirit bringing egregious experiences to me in dealing with those people so that I would walk away from them. So all of this is really just to say that what you may be experiencing in your life, whatever the painful understanding is, just know that it is to take you to a better place. But Spirit knows you. It knows you won't necessarily just leave an understanding behind, or it won't necessarily be that you'll walk away from something that isn't emotionally and mentally good for you without some assistance. And sometimes that assistance is rough, but Spirit is not doing it to permanently damage you or hurt you. It's the understanding of how it gets you to really learn to live your life in awareness and to find strong or stable boundaries, learn to protect yourself, learn to really pay attention to what you allow around you and in your life. At least that's what I took from it. I know it may be hard to see or understand that when you're in the situation. And believe me, a lot of these understandings I gained after the fact. But I am so grateful for everything that I've been through now, because it has made me freer. It's made me more willing to step in a free understanding of energy, and also made me value myself a lot more as well. Not only value myself, but value my own personal relationship with Spirit, my own personal relationship with my Creator, because nobody can tell me what that relationship should be. Nobody can tell me what I need to do or how I need to be for that energy to love me and care for me. It has told me numerous times, over and over, I am loved beyond measure. I am worth all things to it. And there is nothing that I could do, nothing that I could say to change that. I've had conversations with it where I'm angry, I'm yelling at it, screaming at it, and I feel it take all of that emotion, all of that sadness, all of that frustration away from me, because all it wanted me to do was to acknowledge that that's what I was feeling anyway. Acknowledging those feelings to my Creator has really helped me, has really given me a more balanced life. But anyway, I feel like I'm probably rambling. I'm still figuring out this podcast thing. I hope that to bring you guys many topics of how Spirit has helped me grow in my journey, and many understandings of things that I've discovered in my own spiritual journey, in the hopes that it'll assist you or help you to get to where you want to go in your life. Help you feel less alone, or less afraid, or even less insane, if that's how you're feeling at this time. Less angry, more loved, all of those things. But that's all I have for you guys at this time. I hope it resonates. And if it doesn't, I hope you found what does. And also, don't be afraid to leave questions in the comments or topic suggestions that you would like to hear my perspective on. And I'll see you in the next episode.